accused of killing a Greater Victoria teen, a man makes his first court appearance.
Like I said, this is just a big shock to me and to a lot of people.
The murder has sparked a community to celebrate and honor the life of Justin Wendland.
He was a great guy, and he's probably been our prime minister, but the guy's great. It's just so sad to lose him.
And people in Nanaimo are taking extra steps to avoid being an arson target.
From our Vancouver Island newsroom, this is CHEK News. Here's Tony Parsons.
Good evening. He's accused of killing a 15-year-old in a random attack that has stunned BC's capital. Corey Daniel Barry made a brief court appearance this afternoon, charged with murder in the fatal stabbing of Justin Wendland last week. Friends of both the victim and his alleged killer turned up at the courthouse. Kristen Robinson reports.
While his owner is locked up elsewhere, Tatanka, the red-nosed pit bull mastiff cross, is getting the rock star treatment at Victoria Animal Control's shelter. Tatanka belongs to 39-year-old Corey Daniel Barry. The 2-year-old dog was with Barry when he allegedly stabbed 15-year-old Justin Wendland in the chest last Thursday.
I don't think that will have any effect on the dog. Dogs would have to be repeatedly exposed to violence for it to have an effect.
Charged with the murder of the young Vic High student, sheriffs escorted Barry to court Monday, where he was supported by at least one friend who told him to stay strong.
This is just a big shock to me and to a lot of people that this happened. I couldn't believe it when I heard about it. So like I said, I just wanted to go in and give him some kind of support. You know, when you're in jail and you're locked up, and there must be so much going through his mind right now.
He was saying how these new medications he was on, and this was probably about a month ago, were really making his head out of sorts.
Those who know the murder suspect say he'd been off drugs for several months, but may have started using crystal meth again.
And it just all lined up like an eclipse, right? It all just was came together to form a huge tragic event, and I think he's going to regret this.
Well, Corey, that I know, was a fairly gentle person, loved his dog, it was his constant companion.
Pastor Chris Riddell met Barry through the Mustard Seed, where he attended Sunday church service and was recently baptized. Riddell saw Barry the day before Wendland was murdered, and says the man who usually kept to himself wasn't himself.
Last time I talked to him was on Wednesday at our Bible study. Again, I think Corey seemed distracted to me, unlike I had known him over the past number of months.
Everyone who knows Barry offers condolences to Wendland's family, as sheriffs return Barry to jail after his very brief court appearance. His dog will remain with animal control until officers receive Barry's permission to adopt Tatanka out or have someone else claim him.
The extent of the sorrow that followed the killing of Justin Wendland is community-wide. There are fundraisers for his family and words of compassion at his memorial on the spot where he was slain outside the Times Columnist building on Douglas Street. Bruce Kirkpatrick shows us how this tragedy has sparked the community into action to honor the young man's life.
It's pretty sad, you know, knowing that this can happen in such a great city. It's heartbreaking.
Passers-by expressed shock and sadness at the passing of a 15-year-old at a Victoria bus stop, and the memorial grows.
But what about the Wendland family? 15-year-old Justin from Vic High in the news.
A Victoria radio station holds an auction. 2 tickets to the Wadafuka Fishing Derby, June 19th and 20th. Money for the Wendlands.
We decided at the last minute through Ed Bain's suggestion that maybe the money that we raised today should go to help this single mother, you know, where she needs the help. So we decided that's what we did.
At Facebook, too, this guy started the page, which has grown significantly over the past few days.
And we started it because we thought people should have a way to get it out and say what they want to say to him, even though he's not here. So it's a sort of a healthy way to deal with your emotions.
Tracy Spence Thorpe is a family friend and fundraiser too.
I'm ordering bracelets with rest in peace Peggy, which was Justin's nickname, and just remembering Justin. Trying to just raise as much money. She's a single mom.
Employees of Totem Towing, where Justin's mom Raj works, are raising money for her, and friends of Justin at McDonald's, where he worked, plan fundraisers too. Meanwhile, a mother grieves, as does her family and friends, a lost son and friend, and the community rallies to help them.
The Q's fundraising auction this afternoon brought in over $2,000 for the family of Justin Wendland. There is concern tonight in Nanaimo about where and when an arsonist will strike next. 2 homes were destroyed by arson last week, and police are still investigating whether those fires are linked. But developers are waiting to find out, taking extra costly steps to prevent their property from becoming the next target. Sky Ryan reports.
A security guard now walks the perimeter of 2 burnt-out homes, the latest targets of a Nanaimo firebug.
A lot of scary sorts of things. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen next. And somewhere along the line, somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah, last night I couldn't sleep. After the fire at night, that next night, I had flashes of fire in my eyes whenever I tried to close my eyes to go to bed.
The house across the street from my place is burning. Oh my God.
The arsons are riling up anxiety in neighbors and developers alike.
Most of them seem to be burnt right now, almost at what we would call a lock-up stage. Prior to drywall, everything else is in it, and they're pretty kinder dry, and they would go up like a firecracker.
So the sight of security at Nanaimo construction sites is about to be a lot more common.
The insurance companies are going to say, well, if you don't protect it, we're not insuring it.
Builders are already crunching the numbers, and for around-the-clock security, it will cost upwards of $300 a project a night.
Per project on every single one you got out there. So if you've got 50, do the math. It's huge.
But so is the threat to their livelihood. These 2 fires last week caused over $1 million in damage.
Because the more he sees it, the more he wants to see it. And he keeps going until he finally does it too often and gets caught.
And with several empty homes sitting just meters from where the firebug last hit, neighbors are anxious to see that security soon.
It's a horrible thing that people can just do this to your neighborhood.
Insurance might cover the housing and this or that, but yeah, somebody's going to definitely get hurt somewhere along the line. So, and that's the scary part.
A fear that's hitting all too close to home here tonight.
Fire investigators still don't know what caused a massive fire in a Colwood strip mall this weekend. Officials say the burned-out wreckage of the strip mall is still too dangerous for investigators to begin their search for a cause. More than 50 firefighters were called to fight the blaze, which broke out early Sunday morning. 4 businesses were destroyed in the flames. 2 empty lease spaces were also destroyed. So far, no dollar figure has been given for the extent of the damage. Firefighters say the fire appears to be suspicious. Savage police have brought a man who fled to the UK after allegations of child sex offenses back to Vancouver Island. 34-year-old John Cox, an IT specialist, used anti-tracking methods and managed to evade police for 3 months. Cox allegedly used different aliases to disguise his online identity by using IT software. Cox faces 9 child sex offense charges and 2 firearms charges, and fled to the UK rather than appearing at his February trial here in Victoria. A Helijet helicopter has been forced to make a landing on San Juan Island today. The helicopter had 2 crew members on board. The Rescue Coordination Center reports there were no injuries in the incident. Helijet says there was an electrical problem on board. The aircraft was on a repositioning flight to Vancouver. Helijet says the incident may impact flights on Tuesday. Kevin Nish was back home today, describing how he smuggled out pictures of his travels. The Victoria activist was on the flotilla trying to reach Gaza last week when it was attacked by the Israeli army and 9 people were killed. The CBC's Deborah Goebel reports.
The issues may be deeply rooted in history and the violence very real, but there is another war going on over the Gaza Strip, and it's being played out in the court of public opinion.
You saw it out of a movie, but the decks were dripping with blood. There was blood running down the stairs.
On his first full day back home in Victoria, Kevin Nish says he wants people to know about his experience aboard the ship raided by Israeli troops last week.
The whole goal was to get aid into Gaza. There was no weapons on that ship.
These photos he took during the raid were smuggled out, he says, and posted on the website of a Turkish newspaper.
But I've heard it said that this was a setup, that I'm a dupe. Ooh. That this was a setup, and that this ship simply went to draw these raiders in.
But as Nish tells his story,
Israeli supporters tell a very different one.
I have no doubt that these are well-intentioned people.
But manipulated, says Michael Elterman of the Canada-Israel Committee.
Nobody wants to feel that they were duped.
The blockade of Gaza is in place, Elterman says, to stop weapons getting in.
This was an orchestrated, very cynical attempt by pro-Palestinian Hamas and their friends to create a provocative situation that will make Israel look like the aggressor in order to break the blockade and bring weapons into Gaza.
One thing that is certain, the public relations battle for support on both sides will continue.
The crossing guard in Syria has been doing a lot of dodging lately, but it's not cars or kids that's forced it to take cover. It's a bird with an attitude.